MES'Te over here, MES'Te. MES'Te. Over here. MES'Te. We here live with MES'Te. We're on the second half of the foreign music red carpet. Like I said, me and her, we have a personal relationship when it comes to music, and she's always did her thing her way and her lane. Even back in the days, we used to run with Snoop, so you know we have a deep root relationship. So, but other than me, you know, let the people know a lot of the other producers, just the people you worked with in the past, all the way to the future since you've been doing music. So your fans can know, you know, what you've really been doing within the last 10, 15 years. So a lot of people don't know you've been really grinding and doing a lot of things.
So one of the first producers that I work with in the music industry is a guy named Chocolate. Chocolate is one of the first producers that I worked with in the music industry. We were in the Valley. He was coming off of Death Row. Great experience. I work with a guy named RJ. Of course, recently I've been working with, I work with Rob T. One of my producers from back in the day is a guy named Tony Touch, who worked with Battle Cats. So his sound is a lot like Battle Cats.
Yeah.
Recently, of course, I work with you.
Yeah.
I worked with a guy named iRock. I've also worked with Broadway. Broadway was one of my first producers back in the day. Broadway produced my very first single that we actually did.
Yeah.
He did the original beat to Ghetto Queen.
Yeah.
And then we redid it some years later. Recently, again, I worked with Shoddy Boy, Pomona Dre. I've had the pleasure of working with The Chill. I've had the pleasure of working with Weasel Low. And I'm currently working with a gentleman named Rob Lowe that I'm looking, oh my gosh, just built a great relationship with. He's from up north. He's actually worked with the Ma Figures and the Jacka. I'm really excited about working with him. I mean, I work with Badass, I work with Silky Fun, I work with Westside Bug, I've done a song with Lil J, I've done a song where it was me, Badass, Lil J, Corrupt, and Roscoe. I originally did a song with Cocaine. He's one of the first mainstream artists that I work with, Pomona City Riders, which consisted of Ha Ha, Weasel Low, Pimpin' Young. That's pretty much the rap car that I come from. I have been graced to either work with, rub shoulders with, or be around some of West Coast best, literally, the Outlaws, Noble, Storm. I remember back in the day when they were in the Valley, gave me some great advice. So I'm just, you know, I've been a sponge for a lot of years, soaking up game, and finally things are turning, you know, and the floodgates are opening. Like I said, my song Appreciate. Who knew my planted seeds would bloom in the quarantine?
Yeah.
You know, so.
That's good. That's good. And like I said, I know you personally, so I know your background. But if, like in today's hip hop, who is some of the producers or artists that you would like to work with? You know, because you know it's a different time now. So
would like to work with.
Yes, that you would like to work with.
So One producer that I definitely would like to work with, I'm going to speak it into existence and I'm believing to work with is Rick Rock.
Okay.
I love Rick Rock. You hear a producer's sound and you know what moves you. You know the beat will speak to your spirit and you know what it will bring out of you. Fortunately, from my development time years ago, working with Chocolate Brews producers such as yourself, right up until working with Rob T recently a couple of years ago, where I was rap rusted coming back into the game. You hear a certain sound in certain producers' production, and you know, you just feel it like, oh, if I ever get a beat from him, I'm gonna knock it down. You know what I mean? And so that's how I feel about Rick Rock. I feel like it is a destiny, a divine order waiting to happen, and when it does, it's gonna blow. Jazzy Fa is a producer that I would love to work with. He just has such a soulful sound, and again, I believe he's able to bring out something in me that has yet to just flourish, or again, who producers, engineers such as yourself has already tapped into, but perhaps they're able to master it. I cannot be an artist from the West Coast without saying that Dr. Dre, to work with Dr. Dre would be just
one of the biggest. Yeah,
come on.
I would love to work with Dr. Dre.
Who wouldn't, right?
I'm an
So
engineer, producer. I would love to work with.
who wouldn't, right? So, Eric Billinger is an artist that I would love to work with. E40, of course, he's one of my top 5. Dub C, to be honest with you, I've been looking at, I've actually reached out to Dub C and to see if he'd do a song with me. He's certainly one of my top 5s, of course. Rest in peace, Crazy Tunes. As we know, he lost his brother a couple of years ago, and so Dub has been very reluctant to do any music. Prayerfully, again, I'm going to speak it into existence that when he will come back, because we miss him. As I'm an artist, but I'm a fan of Dub C, and we miss him. And so I'm going to speak it into existence that he's going to come back. And when he does, he is going to tap on my door and he's going to say, hey, Miss T, let's knock that out. So the list kind of goes on. I mean, it just goes on. I can speak for some artists today. I love Mulatto in terms of the younger generation. I do like Mulatto. I like Kamaya. Remy Ma, of course. Females are the more raw, down to earth like me because that's just what it is for me. I don't sell sex. I didn't come up in the game as a stripper. I came up cracking curbs and toting pistols, and I consider myself a female Dub C. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I know that. So, you know, and also I wanted to ask you if you had a chance to help someone do what you're doing, what artist would that be? And if someone's coming up, maybe you know a hard struggling artist that's coming up. Because I know you've been grinding for years. Some of these new artists don't know how hard and dedicated work that you do to do what you do. Because you know everybody's thinking about the bag, they're not thinking about the craft, and I think you know these new artists, even the females, they all about the money. They're not really about the craft anymore. They basically you show them money, they're willing to do anything and basically sell their soul. Now I know you know about that, about contracts, and you know, and these artists today, they really don't know.
It's not even sad as it is, but however, it's not even just a lot of the artists of today. It's a lot of the artists in the past, a lot of the it's just a lot of artists in the past. A lot of artists don't know the back end of the business. They don't know the business. And when I do interviews, I often like to quote Steve LaBelle. He is an executive that has been in the industry for years. I haven't had the pleasure to work with him again. I'm going to speak that into existence that we will work together. But Steve LaBelle said, you have 2 facets of music. You have the music industry and you have the music business. And I think there are a lot of us spitting our tails in the music industry. I did it for years until the opportunity came about for me to learn about the business. And so I'm so grateful for that opportunity that came. And with that, I was able to do a lot of research and understand the true back end of the business and add the administrative aspect of the back end of the business to what I already knew of the back end of the business in terms of soliciting locations to do shows and things like that, because it's one of the ways that I initially came in the game. It would be my advice to any artist, make sure you protect your intellectual property, and a lot of artists don't.
So you hear it first. Learn how to protect yourself, whether it's publishing, copyrights, trademarks. You want to make sure you protect yourself. You know, me and her work together, so she owns her own material. So, you know, so most artists is, you know, it's only maybe it's a handful that kind of know, but really don't know. So, you know, my advice too is, you know, learn how to protect yourself because she knows. So, and you got any last words you want to say out there for your fans?
You know, when we use that word fans, I want to say I don't look at myself as having any fans, and I don't ever want to look at myself as having fans. I call them supporters.
Yeah, or family.
Family. Big ups to my family, my friends, my supporters, my adversaries. I don't feel I have enemies, adversaries. I don't have haters. I have naysayers, people that say things that mean Nathan, nothing. So big ups to everybody, because the universe operates in twofold: the masculine and the feminine, the yin and the yang, the red, you know, the blue.
I believe in that concept. Yes.
Thank you for the good and thank you for the not so good. I thank you all. Big ups to everyone. Q Bob. And foreign, this is the foreign
music.
No, this is the
red carpet.
Foreign Hip Hop Live Show.
Foreign Hip Hop Live.
Foreign Hip Hop Live.
And it's been a pleasure having you here live on the Foreign Hip Hop Live Show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right. Now let's go make some hip hop.